Hello friends, Clage back with another video today, and happy holidays to all of you. Hopefully you are navigating those well and having a good time. But as I mentioned in my last video, I'm going to be doing regular content for Punishing Gray Raven PGR as part of the Content Creator Program. So I wanted to get out a short video today talking about just the game in general, where the game is heading next year in 2025. And the main topic of this is just to give a synopsis of should you consider trying out Punishing Gray Raven in 2025. So this video is going to be directed at those of you who have never tried the game, maybe you're thinking about picking it up, have heard a friend or a content creator you like talk about the game. So I'm going to go over good reasons to try out PGR in 2025, what type of game it is, what you can expect in this next year of the game coming out, and if it's for you or not. So I'm going to try and keep this brief. I still am just going to be doing all these videos like I did with my Guilty Gear and other videos in the past of just writing a quick script and kind of going off the cuff and letting stuff rip. You guys know me. I've done one truly scripted and edited video, and it took 60 hours of my life because I'm not good at editing. So we're going to keep this simple. So let's just get into it. So first and foremost, if you didn't watch the last video, Punishing Gray Raven is a gacha game. If you are unfamiliar, gacha games are kind of the most common mobile games these days. Gacha meaning gachapon style roles for obtaining characters and items and weapons and such. So if you are adverse to gacha games in general, you don't like games that might tempt you into spending money on them to acquire resources faster or get characters or bet more copies of characters to make them more powerful, this game is not going to magically change your mind on the gacha game scene. But what Punishing Gray Raven is in terms of a gacha game is probably the single most friendly gacha game for low spenders and free-to-play players to progress and still enjoy the game without feeling the need to invest monetarily into it. And I'll explain that in a little bit more detail here. But what else is PGR? So PGR is a post-apocalyptic action RPG. Combat is 100% the highlight of Punishing Gray Raven. This game has one of the most interesting and deep action combat systems I have played in a very long time. It is very, very rewarding to get good at this game, get down your rotations, and just play in a very stylish manner. There are even game modes coming in the future that focus solely on being stylish and not so much on clearing content fast, which is a major aspect of playing PGR and climbing up the leaderboards and stuff in the weekly events. So if you like games like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, this game is going to be right up your alley. It is basically that style of action combat, but in team form. You build teams of 3 based around certain element types of damage. And if that sounds interesting to you, then stick around, because I'll explain how much better it gets than that. But I like to think of PGR's combat as being one part, traditional action game, your Devil May Cry's, Bayonetta's, Old Ninja Gaiden, etc. One part Final Fantasy XIV rating. All these characters play very unique. They all have unique rotations. They all have unique mechanics. And you use those mechanics while simultaneously learning how to deal with boss patterns and enemy attacks and how to bait enemy attacks. And I will do a full video on combat basics for the game here in the very near future for those of you who are considering picking up. But all you really need to know is that the combat's incredibly fun. It's very simple to pick up, but incredibly difficult to master. So if you like challenging yourself to a high skill ceiling with your action games, this will scratch that itch fantastically. So that's kind of the first and foremost reason if you want to look at PGR. It's a good reason to pick it up because combat is so cool in this game. It's so fun to do. And I'll be showing off a lot of different aspects of combat as I make more videos for the game going forward. The other thing is, like most gacha games, character designs are incredible in this game. Characters get a myriad of various skins and stuff you can get. Some are free. Some require rolling on skin gachas and stuff like that, but character designs are outstanding. All sorts of different types of characters. Again, all these characters play differently. They all have different core abilities that make them unique when you put them on the battlefield. And their designs are just awesome. I love the character designs in this game. If you didn't watch the last video, PGR is made by Kuro Games. If you've heard of Kuro, you probably know them best currently for Wuthering Waves, which has become a very popular gacha game that's much more similar to something like Genshin Impact. But this was kind of Kuro's first real breakout game. This game has helped kind of fund Wuthering Waves because of how loyal the player base has been and how much people love these designs, love playing these characters. And they're all very interesting. They have super interesting personalities. It's very like, you know, classic, some anime tropes, but their own thing too. If any of these characters look remotely cool to you, at the very least, just watch some footage of the game and consider checking it out on that merit. Characters are just awesome in this game. I really, really like them. If you can hear in the background, you can hear some of the music going on. If there's one thing you know about PGR, if you don't know anything about the game, it is almost certainly the music. Music from this game gets used in all sorts of people's videos, content creator videos. There's so many iconic tracks that have made the rounds on YouTube and on social media and stuff. If you are a fan of electronic music or high energy music, you will absolutely adore this soundtrack. It is incredible. I have this soundtrack on all the time, no matter what I'm doing. I am absolutely addicted to it, have been for years. Music is just absolutely outstanding. Cannot overstate that enough. So in general, if you find these character designs interesting, you find heavy action-based skill combat interesting, and you're a big fan of heavy, dark science fiction, post-apocalyptic world-style stories, PGR will be right up your alley. The story in this game is outstanding. I will give the forewarning, and every honest PGR player will tell you this, the story starts out rough. The story definitely takes a while to hit its stride. They weren't entirely sure how they wanted to do the story in terms of implementing gameplay and each chapter and stuff. It smooths out very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. It becomes a very interesting, very cool world-building story. And it goes to some wild places. PGR can be a game that is not afraid to take your emotions and stamp on them a little bit. So do be forewarned. If you are easily bothered by heavy material, dark material, this is a post-apocalyptic world we're in. And there is a war going on between humanity and what are known as the corrupted. I won't go into story details because I want people to experience it themselves. But just know that this story can get very heavy and very dark. So just be prepared for that. Something to note if you're thinking about checking out the game. But let's talk about what good reasons there are to pick up PGR, just aside from the gameplay, the characters, and all that. So let's talk the elephant in the room. Let's go talk about the gacha aspect of this game right out the gate, okay? Because this is usually what pushes players away from checking out gacha games in general, is the aspect of having to roll and effectively gamble to get the characters you want. And I will be completely straight up with you right here, right now. I am compensated to some extent for making these videos. I'm part of the content creator program. I get in-game rewards. I can even get other rewards depending on how many views these get. But I am still speaking completely of my own volition. I am not under any obligation or contract or anything to try and convince you to buy this game. I don't have an affiliate or buy this game, good lord, to try out the game. It's obviously free to download and check out. But I'm under no contractual obligation to convince anyone to download the game or check it out. There's no affiliate link. You're not gonna, I'm not being affected that way. Everything I'm telling you is my own honest opinion here. This is not me shilling, even though it kind of is. But so the gacha in PGR, I think, is probably the single most fair and free-to-play, player-friendly gacha I've ever seen in any, decently noted gacha game. Obviously, I don't know them all in and out. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of gacha games at this point in nearly 2025. But PGR is incredibly generous with what it gives the player base and what it asks to get new characters. So I'm going to focus on the three main gachas you'll be using if you play the game. The first and foremost, of course, is the character gacha. How character gachas work in PGR is that with each new patch, a new character is debuted. That's going to change next year. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But for now, let's just focus on one patch, one character. There are two different ranks of characters that debut in PGR. There are S ranks and A ranks. S ranks you can think of as your SSRs, your 5 stars in FGO, that sort of thing. A ranks are your SRs. Each new S rank character comes in, and you can see right here, 100% rate up when it is their patch. So this patch debuted Chu Shukra here, our newest Ice DPS. If you roll on Chu's banner, you roll an S rank, you are 100% guaranteed it is going to be Chu. You cannot accidentally get got by rolling an off rate up character. You can't get the wrong Ice DPS or off element character. If you pull an S rank, you are getting Chu Shukra. 100% guaranteed for the duration of the start of her patch. So as you can see here, from now till the 2nd of January, if you roll on this banner, every time an S rank pops, it's going to be Chu, which is great. There's no guesswork. There's no worrying about getting an off rate character. You want this character, this is what you're going to get. 100% guaranteed. In addition to that, there's no 50-50. There's no flipping the coin to see if you get the current rate up character. It is, if you pull on this banner, the most you are going to have to do is 60 pulls. You will get your copy of Chu. That's it. There's no cute jumping around through hoops. There's no hoping and praying you roll what you wanted. No, it's just you roll on the banner. If she pops early, you get her early. If she doesn't, the most it's ever going to take you is 60 pulls. And this is very important because PGR is very, very good about handing out daily and weekly rewards that add up at a nominal rate. If you play Punishing Grey Raven and you log in daily, do your daily quests, do your weekly quests, and participate in the events that happen each patch, you will 100%, without fail, build up enough either black cards or construct tickets, which are specific rolling currency for the character banners, to get this character without paying a dime every new patch. This is a universal truth in PGR. If you do all the content you can and just play the game daily, and this isn't like, oh, you need to log in and do 3 hours worth of work every day. No. Oftentimes you can do your daily quests in like 10 minutes. Even less if you don't worry about doing every mode in the very first day it's available. But if you do your daily quests, complete all the events, and even new players can complete events in this game. They're tuned very specifically to let newer players do them. Occasionally we have high difficulty events and stuff that reward more established accounts, but in terms of getting roll currency and the ability to pull in the gacha, that happens very quickly by just playing the game. So if you play the game regularly, and a new S-rank character comes out in a patch, you are guaranteed to be able to pull that character, at least one copy. And one copy is almost always good enough to build the character up to being meta compliant with whatever the current team they are on is. Because once you pull one copy of a character, you're going to be able to get them to their next rank, which is double S, and I'll show the evolution system before we're done here, but you can get them to their next rank. And you can do it by just doing a daily game mode called Phantom Pain Cage, which is basically a boss rush, more or less. And that mode will get you a in-game currency that you can spend to get more shards of each character. And the shards are used to evolve them, to basically boost their overall stats, boost their abilities, unlock new skills. You can think of this as the same way as Constellations in Genshin Impact, Noble Phantasm level in FGO, all those sorts of things. Very similar to other gacha games. The more copies you have of character, the more perks and benefits they get. But if you were the kind of person you don't want to spend a dime, you're only going to check this game out if it doesn't have to ever dip into your wallet, but you want to be able to get all the cool new characters, you absolutely can. That is 100% viable in this game. There is no fluffing about with any of this. I'll talk more about what banners to use and how to use them properly in a different video, but just know that this is the most important banner right here, Themed Event Construct. This is always the banner where the newest character debuting in the patch is going to be available to roll as an S rank. A rank characters also will be on this, but A rank characters don't need 60 pity. You are going to get an A rank every 10 pulls, and if you select the new A rank that comes out, they're going to be 100% rate up. So you get tons of copies of an A rank with very, very minimal effort. And A ranks can be completely gathered in-game without ever rolling on the gacha if you want to. So, but this is an important thing to keep in mind. Again, no 50-50. No worrying about off-rate up characters. None of that. As long as you roll on the character when they debut, you're going to get them. You will absolutely get them, and that is easily one of the best parts of PGR. The other banner that you will focus on a lot is the weapon rate up banner. Each character has a signature weapon. Many characters, especially the S-rank characters, have key gameplay components wrapped around their weapons. But some characters, including some of the stronger characters, function just fine with their 5-star weapon as opposed to their 6-star weapon. And 5 stars can be obtained in-game without ever spending any money. But same way you can build up enough cards to roll each S rank, you'll build up cards incrementally to also roll on weapons. The weapons are the one thing that is not 100% guaranteed, even when it's a brand new character. Weapons are always at 80% rate, and you can pick literally any weapon that's ever been released in this game whenever you want it. So if you're building an older character that you got from a selector or on the standard banner or something like that, you can go back and pick it and get it at an 80% rate up. And 80% is much better than a 50-50, obviously. That's how math works. But more importantly is, even if you, let's say you brick on this, right? You're rolling for Chu's new sword, her Keyblade here, and you whiff and you get someone else's weapon. That is not actually a total loss. You don't just have this weapon, like say you roll the signature weapon for a character you don't even have, or a signature weapon from a year 1 character, someone that sees no use in modern content. That weapon is still incredibly valuable to you because weapons have an evolution system in this game called resonance, where you can take either shards that you build up in-game or take a 6-star weapon that you don't use or don't intend to put on a character and repurpose it as a resource to powering up other characters' weapons. So even on the rare occasion that you will miss, and it'll happen, I think I've missed 2 weapons ever on this banner on the first try, you still get something from it. You don't just waste your rolls. And to compensate, the weapon banner pity, as you can see down here, is only 30. Half of what the character banner is. So you will pull weapons really fast. You're almost always going to get the one you want, and even if you don't, that thing is not worthless. It will come in handy to you down the road as a way to power up weapons for your favorite characters or characters that you want to be more efficient in combat. So the third common banner that you're going to roll on is the Cub banner. You can think of these as individual pets for each character. Each new character gets a cub that, I should say, each new S-rank character gets a cub that is specifically designed for them. Cubs are not required to play the game at a solid level at all. They are very much nice-to-haves, but not necessary. But they do cool things. They buff attacks on elemental damage. They have incremental buffs for using them in combat. And some of them have really cool skills you can trigger that do things like group up enemies, which is very handy in a game like this, as you'll see when I start showing you combat later. If you have the extra pulls, you do earn Cub tickets by doing one of the in-game modes that resets every couple of weeks. So you can build up enough to pull a Cub for almost every S-rank character. You might have to skip one now and again if you were going completely free to play. But in general, you can pull the Cub very easily. As you can see, it's only 20 pity. And Cubs, just like the S-rank character they're tied to, when they first launch, they are 100% rate up. You are going to get the Cub you want. If you don't pull on them during the initial release, you can go back and pick any other Cub you haven't gotten or want for one of your characters at a 80% clip, just like the weapons. So if there's a Cub you want for a new character, it's definitely recommended you pull on it while it's on 100% rate up, obviously. But if you can't do it right away, you can always go back and roll at the 80% rate. And just like weapons, if you get a Cub you didn't particularly want, it can still be repurposed into evolving other Cubs for other characters. So those are your 3 main gacha aspects. Again, everything but the weapon is 100% rate up if you get it during its debut patch. The game hands you rolling currency like candy if you play it. if you don't log in, you don't do your dailies, don't do your weeklies, you will not accumulate roll currency in this game. It doesn't just hand it out for free very often. We do get those. We do get, patch downtime. We get compensation for when the game isn't available, just like every other gacha game. Special events and holidays and stuff, they'll throw free roll currency at us, stuff like that. And one more important thing I should have mentioned is that weapon or banner pity is persistent. So if you I don't need choose Keyblade anymore because I already have it. So whenever the next character weapon comes out that I want, I'm already going to be 4 of 30 to pity on that banner. Same thing for this stuff. I'm already 3 out of 60 on this because of some free rolls we were given in this patch. So whenever the next S-rank character drops, I will already be 3 rolls into going after that 60 pity. So this is persistent. This is persistent for all banners, by the way. Every single banner type holds its pity, even if it's a banner type that only shows up once or twice a year. So that's an important thing to remember, is that pity persists from patch to patch. You do not reset just because a new character came out, or a new cub, or a new weapon. So that kind of is like the first big hurdle I think most people have with gacha games is, can I play it without spending money? PGR, I can unequivocally tell you, yes, you can play this game, get to a high level, get through the entire story, do events, climb leaderboards, and you can do it all without spending a dime. It is absolutely possible. You won't do it as fast as someone who's a spender, obviously, because that is the nature of gacha games. But that's fine. Like, it allows you to invest however much you want to. And the nice part is that with games that are free-to-play friendly like this, if after a month or 2 months you're just not vibing with it anymore, cool, you can put it down. You don't have any buyer's remorse or anything like that. And that, to me, is like the most appealing part of Punishing Grey Raven for the game type it is. I know a lot of people who just don't play gacha games on principle, and I absolutely get it. And I will rarely recommend a gacha game, even one that I really like, to other people. I'm okay with doing it with PGR because, again, they're so generous, and just playing the game allows you to get each new character. This is also important because PGR, unlike a lot of gacha games, doesn't have ancient characters that were released that are so broken that they're meta forever. PGR is actually the polar opposite. Almost every new character that comes out in their role is the best character in that role. The new characters are just consistently stronger than whatever character they're replacing in a team. So, like, Chu is an ice-based attacker. She does ice damage, and she is the attacker role of a team. There are 3 main types of constructs that make up a team: your attacker, your tank, and your amplifier, which you can also think of support. There's an older version of amplifiers that are just called support class, but modern supports are called amplifiers. So those are your 3 main classes. We'll have some unique ones coming down the pipe. But Chu came out, she instant replaced the ice attacker that was meta for almost 2 years, and not only did she replace that character, she obliterates it. Like, she's so much stronger, it's not even funny. If a new character drops, they're good. Like, they're going to be better than whatever their current counterpart is, as long as we're talking base S ranks. This is almost universal for the A ranks as well, but the important aspect is for the S ranks. S rank characters are always going to be an upgrade over what version of that character you had prior. And on the one hand, I could see this being a put-off for some people, because you might be like, well, that just means every single character gets power crept. And in a way, that's true. But it doesn't happen rapidly. We don't get redundant rolls very often in this game. The ice attacker prior to Chu was Lucia Plume. This character was the ice attacker for the ice team for like 2.5 years, because it was that long between this character's release and Chu Shukra's release. So just because a character is going to get power crept doesn't mean there's no value in having them. It's quite the opposite, actually. They're very good about letting characters rock for, at the bare minimum, a year plus, but oftentimes a new character hits a role, they are going to be the character in that role for probably 2 years for you. So, yes, it's power creep, but to me, it's done in a good way. And the best part about this, if you're a new player, which again, this video is targeting, if you're a new player, you don't have to worry about going and finding this random year 1 support that is a linchpin in making your fire team work, for example, right? And the cool part is that older characters that are still meta, that aren't on the verge of being replaced. Let's take amplifiers, for example. So Liv Imperia is the fire-based amplifier for this game. She is the one who buffs the other fire units, helps increase damage, decrease resistances for enemies, stuff like that. This character is fairly old. Liv has been around for well over a couple years. There's no sign of her being replaced yet that we know of. So you might be like, well, I don't have Liv. I'm not going to be able to add this character. That means my fire teams are going to be weak. Well, the good news is that every single amplifier-like character, all these support characters that remain meta but aren't exactly new, can all be obtained eventually for free in the voucher store and in other stores as well. This is the currency you get from buying the battle passes, but it's important to note that this isn't just a battle pass currency. You will actually earn this currency by just doing events and doing dailies and stuff like that. You don't have to buy the battle passes to get this. You'll just accumulate it slower, but you can get shards for a lot of characters that are still relevant. Alyssa Echo here is the physical amplifier. She only came out this past summer. You can buy shards of her, upgrade her, and evolve her by playing the game without spending a dime. And every future character that is offered for free, we do get free S ranks every so often in various roles. They will end up available to either purchase through the voucher shop or from a shop in your dorm for the commissions. So I'll talk about this in another video, but all you need to know is there's a dispatch commission program, and you build up currency for this. New characters get added to this like every 6 months or so. That's just a free S rank that's going to be meta for your team. You can get them completely free by just doing this mode. That's all you gotta do. So even if there's an older character that is still important and is a very valuable piece of a team, you're going to be able to get them without paying money. So again, that's kind of the long and short of the best part of PGR, is that you can play this free to play, build meta teams, and do it for real. Like, not, oh, free to play, but you should probably buy this pack, or you should probably buy the battle pass, or, stuff like that. If you truly want to be never swipe, never spend a dime, you can build meta teams for every element. It's just going to take you a while, but you will get there, guaranteed. The next important thing I want to talk about for if you should pick up PGR in 2025 is what is upcoming with the very next patch and for the foreseeable future this year. And that is what's going to be called the Global Synchronization Program. So ever since PGR released outside of China, on the various global servers. I'm on the North American server. There's a Taiwanese server. There's a Japan server, all at various points in the game's lifespan. China, obviously, is the most up-to-date and has the newest patches. PGR announced earlier this year, just about a month ago, that by the end of 2025, they are going to catch up all global servers with the Chinese servers. So every single server across the world is going to be synced up and getting new characters, new story chapters, everything all at the same time. The goal is to have that done by the end of 2025. What does that mean for you as a potential player? So what that basically means is that now, instead of getting a new patch every 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how big the original patch was, and getting one new character, whether it's an A rank, an S rank that you have to roll to obtain, or a free S rank, now we are going to be getting 2 to 3 patches at once that all are combined into one big 6-week patch event. So now we're going, instead of getting like on the original schedule, our next patch after this would have been an A rank, a free A rank character that you can just get by doing basic stuff, right? It would be kind of known as a smaller patch in general. The A rank patches tend to be shorter and smaller than the S rank patches. Now we're going to combine 2 to 3 characters per patch until every server is caught up. So what this means is that if you are a free-to-play player, you are about to get the most beneficial situation you could possibly get in a gacha game, which is that now Instead of accumulating weekly and daily rewards at the usual rate you would get per patch, now you're either going to get them twice or even 3 times as fast, depending on if the patch has 2 or 3 original patches combined into it. Basically to compensate for having us catch up and having these patches combined instead of spreading them out like they have in the past over the first 4 years of this game's lifespan in global. Now we're going to be getting, double or triple the rewards for every daily quest, every weekly quest, and every patch event that offers rewards is now going to happen that much faster. And you don't have to do anything special to do that other than, again, log in, do dailies, do events, and that's it. That's all you have to do to keep up. This is massively beneficial for newer and free-to-play players because now you're just going to get new characters 2 to 3 times as fast, and you're going to get resources 2 to 3 times as fast. So that means you can now build up characters, build up brand new characters who are the strongest in their role, and accumulate them quicker than we ever have in the global servers of PGR. So if there was ever a time to check out this game and try it out and see if it's your thing, this is the perfect time because this global synchronization process is going to vastly speed up how quickly you can build up teams and build up your account power. In addition to that, this game is wonderful about adding quality of life changes to it constantly. Every single patch we get some kind of quality of life thing, whether it's more currency from game modes, whether it's more streamlined UI, whether it's legitly buffing older characters with leap skills, all of those things. All of those things now are just going to be dropped into our lap infinitely faster, and it means the game is just that much more fun and that much less tedious to play. This game is so much more enjoyable than it was even a year ago, and I was already having an amazing time with it. But it is so much more friendly now because of all these quality of life updates that they implement constantly. They are constantly updating the engine, updating the innards of the game to make it run smoother, to make grinding feel less grindy. And grinding in this game is a joke, by the way. You don't have to do anything. You unlock auto battle very easily in this game to get currency. So all those quality of life choices just going to drop into your lap literally 2 to 3 times as fast, which is amazing for new players. It just means you are getting the best version of the game much faster than the rest of us have. So that's another amazing part of the global synchronization plan. And then, in addition to all of this, this is going to set us up for the next announced collaboration that PGR has. PGR has already done a couple very cool collabs in its history, one of which every Gacha game ever has done, which is Nier. All 3 main Nier characters from Automata were released in the game back in the day. This used to be the physical team for a while. They're all horribly outdated now, because that was, I believe, year 1, if I remember right. Year 1 or year 2. And then this year we got the Black Rock Shooter patch, which was a really cool side story that kind of did a what-if PGR story while implementing Black Rock Shooter. But the next patch that has been, or next collab that's been announced that will happen probably either late next year or early 2026 is literally Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry 5 is going to be collaborating with Punishing Gray Raven. And I actually have some suspicion that that collaboration is why this global synchronization is happening, because Capcom is usually pretty picky about their collabs. So my guess is they need to run that collab simultaneously worldwide to honor whatever agreement they have with Capcom. I have no proof of that. That's my assumption, and it kind of makes a lot of sense for why this sudden change in patch speed is coming up. But this game already has a boatload of memes in it for DMC. I mean, Lucia Crimson Weave is often referred to as Virgil because she is. And there's even where's the emote at? Is it under the regular ones? Where are you at? We literally have a freaking... There it is. Yeah. I mean... what more do you want? Like, it's they're not even subtle about it. It's great. There's tons of those, by the way. They have so many little nods to anime and other games and stuff. The dev team, like, they know what they're doing and they know what their fans like. It's really fun. But if you have any interest in Devil May Cry as a franchise, that coming to PGR is going to be incredible. That's going to be so fun. I'm so excited for that. That's going to be amazing to watch. And that's kind of going to be our next big endpoint with this global synchronization patch. So those are kind of the long and shorts about if PGR is worth your time, worth considering picking up in 2025. I'm going to be having much more detailed videos on how the basics work, how to do combat. I'm going to have individual character guides. I'm going to have breakdowns of certain events and higher difficulty content, and I'll have just some showcases of doing some high-end combat and showing how flashy and unique it can be. But the big things to take away from this are, if you like action games, if you like post-apocalyptic sci-fi, if you like a gacha game that respects your time and lets you be free to play and get away with it for real, not the, oh, it's a good free-to-play game, but, you know, it's a better game if you buy the Battle Pass and the monthly subscription. Like, sure, those things are nice. I can easily recommend certain things if you do decide you want to swipe in this game, but you don't need to. And with the global synchronization patch, this is probably the single best time you could become a new player of this game. It's never going to get better than it will this year for taking a fresh account or a free-to-play account and getting it built up quick. You're going to be able to get to areas that took me well over, not quite 2 years yet. I started playing last February, or 2 Februaries ago. So this February will be my 2-year mark with the game. But you're going to conceivably be able to have an account on par with where mine is right now after almost 2 years. And if you're playing every day and doing events and doing everything, you can probably get there in like 8 months with this global synchronization. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal for new and free-to-play players. So that kind of covers the general idea. If you have other questions on PGR in general that you want answered, I'm happy to answer those in the comments down below. And again, I'll have more in-depth videos on the individual aspects of the game. Combat, character guides, poll recommendations, all that stuff I will be making. Again, I'll be making at least 3 or 4 videos per patch. Hopefully more if I get the time, because the more I make, then the more chances I have for in-game rewards and stuff. And I like free stuff. But even if you're not interested in picking up the game, if you don't mind giving these views, giving them interactions, I do get in-game rewards for that. Like I said, you know, something sponsored, something, even though it's not a direct sponsorship. But I'm not making videos for this because I am getting paid boatloads of money or anything. I'm doing these because I want to, because this has become one of my favorite games of the last 2 years. And I am more than happy to help get other people into it, because I just want to see Kuro succeed. I just want to see this game keep going. I want it to continue getting these amazing updates and characters and skins and this. I don't know, man. I gush about this game all the time. If you can't tell, I really like PGR. So, but if you have any other questions, if you're thinking about picking up the game, I'll post a link to the PC client down in the description. I do highly recommend playing this game on the PC client. You can play it on mobile. It is completely functional on mobile. Some of the best players in the world still play on mobile. I don't know how they do it. I'm pretty sure they have robot devil hands, but you can do it. But the PC client is incredible. It's incredibly adaptable. You can use any controller layout you like. I use a DualSense, a PS5 controller, and it performs wonderfully to use the game. If you like to play these games mouse and keyboard, it's incredibly friendly in the mouse and keyboard. You can bind the keys and set up your hotkeys however you want. The sky is kind of the limit with the PC client. You can get pretty much anything you want out of it. It runs beautifully. Game looks great. It's not super resource intensive since it is a mobile game at base form. So even if you're not, running the highest end PC, you'll be able to run PGR and run it at 60 FPS with no issue. This game is very resource friendly. So I think that covers everything for now. I yammered way longer than I wanted to, but I really want to explain what's going to be happening with this game coming up and what you can expect from it, and just give you an idea of if it's going to be worth your time and your effort in 2025. So if any of this sounds interesting, you want to know more, definitely stay tuned to the channel. Feel free to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. There'll be more videos coming down the pipe in the near future. And like I said, if you got any questions, you want to know more specifics on how something works, or have a specific question for picking up the game, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer it in the comments for you. So that's going to do it for now. I'm going to get this thing posted up. I'll get the link to the PC client in the description below. I'll also post a link to the Grey Ravens website, which is run by some in-community members who do amazing work in terms of getting concise information for characters, builds, future patches, all that stuff. It's a wonderful website. I can't recommend it enough. And they also do content as well. If you want to check out a great channel for PGR content, look up Grey Raven Radio. They do all sorts of stuff on just all aspects of the game. The story, characters, new releases, upcoming patches, all that stuff. So that's going to do it for now. Hope you all are doing well. Enjoy the holidays. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you in the next one. Peace for now.